lodged, that's not an assault weapon, even if it looks badass like an AK or an AR, either one. If you pull the trigger once, it's not an assault. It's illegal. It's your God-given right to own it, Kamala. You can't take those away. Stop it. They want to take your guns away. They want to take your free speech away. They want to take your guns away. Next step, make crime no longer crime. Give criminals a leg up, a free pass to have their way with citizens. Right? Buttigieg.
And that's where I think the best example of that that I think is meaningful is something like rescheduling marijuana, right?
Sure.
Where there are certain things that are considered a crime and shouldn't be, or shouldn't be that same level of crime. And that's the reform. And then the other piece you're talking about, maybe the most impactful, is that question of the incentive. Now, obviously, part of the incentive is deterrence, right? Part of the incentive not to kill somebody is, in addition to it being the wrong thing to do, is if you do it and you get caught, there's a penalty.
Sure.
But part of it also is setting people up so that their lives keep them out of the scenarios where many crimes, including violent crimes,
and so now we're talking about social reform.
So let's go over it again. Number one, control the speech. If you want to change a beautiful free country into a socialist dystopian nightmare, control the free speech. Got it. Got it. Number two, take away the guns so you can't protect yourself in the event that happens against a tyrannical government. Number three, disrupt everything. And the best way to disrupt life in America is what they've tried to do over the last 4 years. Allow crime to be okay. Give criminals more rights than victims. And look what Joe Biden has done. 2020, George Floyd riots. People died. In the aftermath of that, that woman right there, Kamala Harris, said, I'm putting up a fund to bail out people who killed people, who lied and stole and shot and looted and rioted. A fund to bail out the people who were actually disrupting the country. 3 of them. 3 things so far. So Kamala's plan is to reduce crime. In a nutshell, reclassify what crimes are. So many existing crimes are no longer classified as crimes. Buttigieg just said that. And giving criminals free stuff to reduce crime. And what? Let me get this straight. I'm going to pay them to not go to jail, and it's going to be on my tab. Sounds about Democrat. One more step. Stand for nothing. Stop defending our enemies, embolden our enemies, and lie about everything in a desperate bid to become the holder of the nuclear codes.
Tonight, mixed messages. A K-file investigation this hour finds Kamala Harris is targeting crucial battleground voters with vastly different messages on Gaza and Israel. This ad is running in Michigan, which has the largest Arab population in America.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
All right, well, it's a very different story for an ad in Pennsylvania targeting Jewish voters.
Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7th.
That alone right there, that little, and by the way, that was CNN, Aaron Burnett calling them out. Those are 2 ads currently running for Kamala Harris. One in Michigan that's pro-Palestinian and one in Pennsylvania that's pro-Israel. Can you believe that woman has the audacity, the balls to do that? The guts to do that, to take 2 different sides of the same conflict and support both sides? One in Michigan where there's a heavy Muslim population, one in Pennsylvania with the heavy Jewish population. Take their sides in both of them, and they hate each other and they're conflicted with them, and there's one issue. Insane. What a tangled web we weave when we lie and deceive and stand for nothing. Could be why squad member Rashida Tlaib turned on her progressive leftist darling and refused to endorse Kamala Harris. Meanwhile, the Harris campaign continues to feature the who's who of the Diddy party attendees. P. Diddy party attendees, that is. We know the truth. Don't listen to anything else. It's all noise. Next step. Destroy the economy with socialist policies, make Americans reliant on the government, important one, so you get their vote, plain and simple. While they're making all that noise, Americans aren't seeing the true damage done by Kamala Harris and Sir Naps-a-Lot. The worst job report in 3 years. The worst report in 3 years. The BLS came out on Friday. Sorry, Kamala, Bidenomics isn't working after all. Don't want to change a thing, remember? But Americans already knew that, despite that condescending insistence otherwise. That was the worst jobs report in 3 years. 12,000 jobs were added last month. By the way, 12,000 were added. They were expecting 116,000, so 100,000 fewer than they were expecting, which is bad enough. But to make things worse, the ones that were added, more than the 12, there's 100 and something thousand government jobs. Because sure, more government is exactly what we want, right? Facetious. America has a net loss of private sector jobs and manufacturing jobs in the month, and none of these factors are noise because this is the stuff we actually should be paying attention to. Thousands of American-born workers lost their jobs while 1 million plus foreign-born workers gained jobs. That's not noise. That's what you should be listening to. That's fact. And all Kamala Harris wants to do is talk about her lawn when she was growing up. And by the way, has absolutely no real interest in telling Americans how she voted on a major policy proposal, Prop 36, a California bill to increase sentences for drug trafficking and theft. I know why she didn't answer this question.
Madam Vice President, have you returned the ballot to California, and how did you vote on Prop 36?
So my ballot is on its way to and I'm going to trust the system that it will arrive there. And I am not going to talk about the vote on that because honestly, it's the Sunday before the election, and I don't intend to create an endorsement one way or another around it.
What was all that distraction, noise, all noise, distractions from the actual facts? Because it would really, really be good to know if she wants to be president. President Kamala Harris would like to know how she voted on Prop 36 in California, which makes it more punitive for criminals to be criminals. I'd like to know that, wouldn't you? Next step, demean Americans who don't vote for you or support your agenda. The insults hurled at more than half of America, noise to them. What have been the Democrats' stages of insulting us, MAGA, ultra MAGA? Remember, the first stage was Hillary Clinton deplorable. Second stage, domestic terrorists, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. Third stage, Biden with that red background in Philadelphia, MAGA extremists. Fourth stage has been just right through. It should be all stages. Race. We're racist. We're bigots. We're racist. Even African Americans and Hispanics who are voting for Trump 50% now, you guys are racist too. Fifth stage, fascists. They're getting desperate now, folks. Now we're fascists. We went from racists to fascists. Sixth stage, garbage. We're garbage. Okay. Thank you. And finally, we've arrived at our final destination on the desperation tour, anti-American.
It gave me a chance to tie the Republicans running these seats, the incumbents, closer to Donald Trump and remind everybody, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you are voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about over and over and over.
She just called half of America anti-American. Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, who's only there because the former governor of New York was such a corrupt piece of garbage. She's in there. She didn't elect it. She took over for Andrew Cuomo. You vote for Trump, you're anti-American. Can you imagine in the United States of America, one of the two candidates for president, if you would vote for this one, a governor of the most populous state in the country says you're anti-American if you vote for that one. They hate you, folks. And now you're anti-American if you don't vote for them. Meanwhile, this entire party has shown us for 4 straight years just how much they hate you. They hate America. They hate every single thing about this republic. Calling rally goers Nazis didn't work for them, so now they're trying just about anything left in the proverbial bag of tricks.
I will ask the question that I think is a fair question to ask. Who raised these people?
Yeah.
Because they were not raised by anybody in my neighborhoods that I grew up, any middle-class neighborhoods that I grew up in. These people were not there.
Oh, Joe, stop it. Who raised you? Republican? Weren't you a Republican congressman? Now what are you? You're a sellout. Folks, it's all noise. It's all noise, all of it. Let's not forget what else is at stake here. We're not just fighting for the White House. We're fighting for everything else, too. The Senate, keeping a majority in the House, every single seat, every judgeship. We've seen it time and time again. Every judge who voted against COVID mandate madness, who voted against Joe Biden's unconstitutional student debt loan relief, AKA his vote buying plan, we're fighting on all fronts tomorrow. Everything we do will set the tone for the next 4 years. Will the Supreme Court get younger conservative justices, or will it be restructured to have, 15 justices? Tomorrow, voters will end up answering all these questions. Conflicting polls, confusion at the polling station, noise. One of the world's top bettors, B-E-T-T-E-R, bettors, Citadel CEO, Ken Griffin has his own hypothesis.
The expectation today is that Donald Trump will win the White House in just a few days. We'll know shortly. And big picture, the reduction in uncertainty is almost always positive for asset prices. And we're at that moment of peak uncertainty. It is a race that Trump is favored to win, but it's almost a coin toss. So I would say that post-election, we'll generally see a risk-on environment as people come to adapt and adopt a new regime, whether it's a Harris regime or a Trump regime. This uncertainty will be behind us.
Folks, vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote. No polling, no messaging, no headlines, no conversations, all noise. Put the blinders on. Don't listen to anything else. It's just noise. You know what to do. Just look around you. Keep your eye on the prize. And the prize is an end to the madness that we've had for the past 4 years. All right, here we go. Time again for the rapid reactions one day before the election, coming off a weekend that was full of absolute nonsense from the Democrats. Let's start off hot and go straight to Joe Biden, who, for whatever reason, was still allowed to speak to other human beings over the weekend in Pennsylvania.
But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Okay, well, MD Ben, can you re-rack that and play that again? You got to hear this. And look at his mouth when he says, how mad is this guy? He's lost it. Listen.
But I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
I'm sorry. What the hell did he just say? Joe Biden, in the key state of Pennsylvania, by the way, just said through those clenched teeth that he really wants to smack us garbage people in the ass. Who keeps letting this guy on stage? I wonder how the White House transcript writers are going to go and try and cover this one up. The weekend only got worse from that point for the Democrats. One after the other, the entire crazy team went out and made absolute idiots of themselves. Harris, Biden, Walz, Emhoff, even Hillary got in on the fun. Fortunately for Democrats, this is what the line looked like outside of Hillary's speech. Absolutely empty. No one wanted to see the old pant lady, pantsuit gal. Blue pantsuit girl. So if she did say anything stupid, I apologize. No one was there to record it. The scene on the inside wasn't much better. Benny Johnson went undercover and snuck in to give us an unfiltered glimpse at these massive Kamala Harris turnouts. Place is absolutely empty. That's the turnout that Kamala Harris gets that was Kamala Harris's, by the way, just days before the election. And they really want us to believe that she has such an incredible amount of support. Donald Trump sells out his arenas. They wait days in advance sometimes. Overnight, a couple days in advance for the good seats. And he packs them in. Kamala can't even pack the local library. Tampon Tim, of course, always went out of his way, and this weekend did as well, to make an absolute fool out of himself, just like angry Joe Biden. Timmy didn't really have anything nice to say about Team Trump before the election.
And I'm sorry about that colorful language, but I've about had it with the guys on the other side. So I'm expressing it like a good Midwesterner.
Okay, look out, folks. Tampon Tim has just about had it with us Republicans. I don't know how to read this guy. Very clearly something wrong with him. These mouth movements, he's overemphasizing hand. Physically, I don't know, the way he moves mentally, which shows whenever he opens his mouth, it's just weird. It's just big and looks all over the place. Just look at the stage, the entry when he walks on stage before he made the angry comments in Arizona. Watch, look at that. Just watch. Look, what is that? What is that? What is that stuff? This man is not normal. He flails and waves his arms like an angry toddler. His physical oddities just make the content of his speeches even more concerning. Half of America is generally wondering if there's something mentally wrong with a future vice president, one heartbeat away from the presidency. In the case of Doug Emhoff, the other beta male on Team Harris, they're filled with them. There's definitely something off. Just listen to this freak reflect on a brotherly moment that he and Tampon Tim shared on the campaign trail. This is weird.
But there's more! Okay, so Tim. When Kamala and Tim took the stage together for the first time in Philadelphia just 14 and a half weeks ago, I met him that one time in Minnesota, but that was really the second time I met him, and I just got up on that stage and gave him the biggest bro hug in the world, because that's the kind of guy he is. And I have to tell you, I got a lot of texts from some longtime friends and some family members and said, well, what's going on? You never hugged me like that. But I said, well, he's awesome.
I don't want a bro hug from you, Emhoff. You weirdo, you freak. I have no words. You want a rapper's reaction? That's it. I'm speechless. Moving right along to a group of people who actually spent their weekend trying to win an election, Donald Trump, restating his vision for America as the hours fly off the clock. Listen to 30 seconds of optimism. Then I'm going to show you what the media is doing with it. Listen.
And this is all you have to know. Kamala broke it, and I will fix it, and it'll go quickly. Yeah, thank you. So this is the big moment. We have a situation where if we do the right thing, we're going to have an America that will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, stronger than ever before.
Well, I don't know about you, but that all sounds pretty damn good to me, and so does to Trump. Still speaking clearly and confidently despite one of the most demanding campaigns we've ever seen. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, who sounds like she's choking on her food whenever she speaks, decides to go on MSNBC, her safe space, and take a few shots at Trump. Listen to this deranged lunatic.
Good morning. Wonderful to be with you again on this weekend before the election. I think that what the ex-president just said is a further indication of his cognitive degeneration.
Well, she won't sound as bad getting up there. Nancy's in her 80s, too. Sounds as bad as old Joe Biden. Yet she has the nerve to go on TV and stutter her way through a remark about Trump's mental sharpness. These people are truly insane. You would think that if the Democrats planned to attack Trump about his age, they would send their youngest and freshest and brightest out there to do so, not Nancy freaking Pelosi, who's 84. Sounds like she's 184. This is going to be some week, folks. The Democrats did and said everything they could to make themselves unelectable over the weekend. The question remains, will enough Americans listen? Boom. Love that truth bomb animation. Truth bomb here very quickly. So a friend of mine, I'm in a group chat with a couple of people who are engineers and producers at a network I used to work at. They said, what's going on? What's happening with the news? News. I said, guys, listen, here's the reality. Look at the full screen here. This is the legacy media. That's news, okay? They call themselves news. And for a long time, they were news. There were journalists who held both sides accountable. News is gone. News has become a commodity. And what that means is news now is simply fact, right? And so there's facts that we all know. It's not shaped any which way or another. But if you deliver those facts as news, no one wants to watch you anymore. No one, there are no clicks, there are no eyeballs. So the mainstream media, all those folks are now starting to move towards, we're going to pick a side. So we'll be ABC, NBC, or CBS. Put that first full screen back up. ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News even, they pick sides. And the side they pick, they defend. Well, that's not the case anymore, folks. Now, there's news and it's commoditized. If you see News Nation in there, they're the one group that has decided to stay with the straight news. Problem is, I love those guys. Those people are amazing people over there. I know most of the people who are producing shows over there, including the top of the top. I'll take the camera back. They made a decision to stay in the middle. They want to be all the news for all the people. Great idea, great concept. The problem is, no one's watching that. No one wants to go see that. People want to hear their side tell the story. So if you're Trump, Republican, conservative, you lean right. You go to Fox, you go to Newsmax, you go to Breitbart, you go to the places like. Problem is, no one wants news anymore, straight news. So that's why those people are fledgling. They're all losing their audiences. And people like the next screen, these are the groups that are gaining all those eyeballs because they want to hear truth and news, right? They want to hear your side, but you also want to hear it from a truthful voice. And you trust people you trust. You trust Megyn Kelly. You trust Bill O'Reilly. You trust Tucker. I hope you trust Bolling. This whole show is about truth and trust. Transparency, truth, and trust right here. Truth bomb, folks. The legacy old school media is gone, dead. Put them all to rest. They're going away. The other groups, people like us, we're going to give you the truth. We're going to be transparent about it, and we're going to earn your trust. Truth bomb. And before we go, the Democrats clearly out of ideas with the election just days away. Someone on the Harris team really looked at this ad and said, yeah, this is a great idea.
Come on, boys. Let's make America great again. It's your turn, buddy.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
Remember, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty?
You bet I did, brother.
What happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
Paid for by Vote Common Good.
These ads, two things bother me about this ad, bother the crap on me. One, they're basically telling people you don't have to be ashamed about voting for Harris because no one will ever know. They're acknowledging that nobody wholeheartedly supports Kamala Harris. It'd be embarrassing to say you would. Literally telling people that it's okay to do so in silence and without any dignity at all. The second thing that drives me crazy is all of these men in the Harris ads, every one of them, the dude ad, this ad, all of them, the ones that Team Kamala thinks represent normal dudes. One has a beard, the other with his family. They use the word brother as if these guys are supposed to be the peak of masculinity. Wrong. These guys are cringy betas, just like everyone else who associates with this insane campaign. These ads, when she loses, she should point directly at her media strategist. It was absolutely horrible. All right, folks, that's it. Hope you had a good time. It's getting down to the wire here. By the way, I'll be on Megyn Kelly's show tomorrow night. I will also be with Jesse Kelly. Doing a bunch of stuff tomorrow night, and we're going to be on the five. I almost said the five. I did say the five. I meant the first. I'll be hosting a couple hours on the first tomorrow night as well. We'll have some content for you all over the place. Go out and vote. Tomorrow's going to be bananas, wild, crazy stuff, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bolling out.